Hey, how you doing? Back out at the park on a beautiful Monday evening, Columbus Day. Happy Columbus Day to you. Columbus Day observed actually October 11th. Tomorrow is Columbus Day itself. And so my tradition of eating Italian food on Columbus Day has failed me today. I did not do that. I went and saw the new James Bond movie, which not the best James Bond movie I've ever seen. I'll just put it that way. I mean, there were some very, very, very good parts. I'll just leave it at that. No spoilers. So no Italian food today. I have another shot at it tomorrow, as tomorrow is the 12th, which is actually Columbus Day. So we'll see. Now, also today, is Canadian Thanksgiving. And that's really why I wanted to come out. And you can tell from the title is Canadian Thanksgiving, eh? Good day, eh? So growing up as a teenager in the great Pacific Northwest, in the suburbs of Portland, Oregon, little town called Canby. So we would go to Canada for Canadian Thanksgiving. My stepmom's brother, my uncle, and his wife, they would host, and we would drive up to a little town called Edgewood in British Columbia. Here's the handy little map. I mean, Edgewood is just a postage stamp near the Arrow Lakes. It's amazing when you drive up there. It was an amazing drive, and just these huge lakes, and the little Edgewood, British Columbia. I think literally 4 square blocks, something like that. The Mounties would come once a week, so there was no real police force. I have a 4th of July story for that one, but so it was just this little dinky town. And my uncle's place was actually out of town, so he had a little farm, fresh goose eggs and things like that for Canadian Thanksgiving. One year it snowed, which was amazing. About 4 or 5 inches, maybe more than that, about 4 or 5 inches. And so we got one of the little ATVs out, and we're pulling each other along in the snow. That was a blast. So yeah, we had a really good time for Canadian Thanksgiving, some really good memories. And even just the drive up was great. You know, sometimes we'd go through the Columbia Gorge, sometimes we'd go up through Snoqualmie Pass. And remember hitting snow one time on the way back from Snoqualmie Pass. So Canadian Thanksgiving, some really good memories. Hanging out with the aunt and uncle in British Columbia, where it was beautiful. We'd spend some summers up there too. Dude, this one time, my brother and my dad and I and Uncle Larry, we were on this lake, I don't know, probably 2 or 3 miles long and a mile or so wide. So, you know, pretty good sized lake. And we're doing some trout fishing. And Uncle Larry's got his binoculars out and he's looking at this hill. Now you have to realize we're at the foothills of the Rocky Mountains. And so this hill was like several thousand feet high. So in many parts of even, you know, our country, that it would be a mountain. But so this hill, and he's looking, I guess the cows had come down from the top, and he had some cows that he had grazing up there on public land, and they had come down. So we had to go back, get the family, and we spent the rest of the day herding them up to the top of this mountain in British Columbia, not a soul around. And it was just amazing. I remember we stopped to rest in this one little grove of trees, and there was this creek going through, and you know how the water goes over the rocks and it's all misty. So it was kind of like that, and some of the rocks had moss on them. And there was like these small pine trees, little saplings, and then of course large pine trees and some hardwood too. And I was just waiting for a leprechaun to pop out from behind a rock or something. It was so beautiful. Another part of the hike, we're going, you know, pretty vertical. It was pretty steep incline in this meadow with all these wildflowers, and a creek was kind of running down. So we're getting wet. We're walking in this creek, or just real marshy, whatever. And there was this cabin that had been abandoned, I guess. And so this cabin was up there by itself. And I was just like, it was just neat times in British Columbia. Really good times. So the reason I like the picture behind me better here, but the wind's blowing in my face, so I'm afraid how that sounds for you. Yeah, we had a cold front blow through yesterday, so blowing dust and stuff ahead of the front in the 80s, but behind it we quickly cooled into the 60s and 42 this morning. Very nice. And mid to upper 30s Saturday morning next weekend. So a couple more cold fronts this week. I'm looking forward to it. I like this time of year. October is one of my favorite months just because of that. We make a really hard transition from, we could have summer-like weather and then usually the same day into fall. And by the end of the month, you could have a little bit of winter, even with some of the stronger cold fronts. So it's kind of one of my favorite times of year. So just a few quick British Columbia stories for you on Canadian Thanksgiving. So happy Columbus Day, Americans, and happy Canadian Thanksgiving to my Canadian friends and family. Talk to you later.